and we will get this party started. So how's everybody doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. How's everybody feeling?
Powerful!
Good. Let me make sure we're recording. Stop recording. Okay, we are recording. Wow. I can't believe it's already 2018. What about you guys? I mean, I've been doing a lot of reflecting over last year and over the years. I remember, even reflecting all the way back to 1999 when we qualified for president's team. I can't believe you snap your fingers and 18 years is gone. Unbelievable. So a couple things that I want to do. I want y'all to share some stuff if y'all get a good connection. But I want to talk a little bit tonight about, setting up your month, right? And now's a good time to do that, obviously, if you haven't already done it. I assume that some of y'all have already done it. I've been seeing a lot of your Facebook posts and stuff like that. But, of course, you want to have your goal set for January. So a couple of things here. Let me just go down my notes here. We got 7 months until the 2018 extravaganza in Houston. 7 months. Less than 7 months. 6 months and, 6.5 months. Okay. How fast is that going to go by? Boom. That's two 90-day plans, and we're going to be at the extravaganza, right? So a couple things that I would do. Number one, that would be my end goal. Of course, you're going to have yearly goals and stuff like that, but I wouldn't go past extravaganza. You understand? In my opinion, okay, you can certainly write down where you want to be by the end of the year and everything else. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. In 1999, I'm just going to share a secret with you. And maybe this is right, maybe this is wrong, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. In the first 3 months of the year, we didn't have the last 3 months of the year already planned out. You understand? We didn't have, our goal wasn't even to reach president's team in October, November, December, the first 3 months of the year. You guys understand that? So you might be able to read a book or listen to somebody else that gives you a different opinion about this, but I'm just telling you what happened to us, because I know that in a time span of 1 year, if you start planning out where you're going to be in October, November, December, right, you're almost wasting time and energy, because too many things happen between now and October, November, December that can, get you off track, or you might have to change course, or you might have to do whatever, right? And so what I'd rather you guys do is put July as your July extravaganza is the end zone for your goal, where you're going to be by July, because that's number one, that's a shorter period of time. It's a compressed period of time. People work better when the clock is ticking, right? Like the 2-minute warning in a football game. Okay, you start putting down on paper where you're going to be in November and December and October and all that. Aren't you just wasting time? I mean, you're not, but aren't you? You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it, but then again, is there something wrong with it? You could spend your time better, is what I'm trying to say. Because if you compress time with your goal, now you've got more of a sense of urgency. It's a compressed, shorter period of time, and now you'll go out there with your daily, weekly, and monthly schedule and work with more intensity, with more focus, with more passion, because you know the freaking clock is ticking. You guys see the difference in that versus like having a end of the year goal type of situation? So I would just put the extravaganza as the end zone, is the goal. And if you work with intensity and purpose and a fear of loss and a sense of urgency and all that stuff, a combination of all that stuff, right? You have to have a relaxed intensity about yourself but at the same time, you have to have a sense of urgency. You have to have a seize the moment mindset, seize the moment attitude every single day. You guys understand? Okay? So number one, I would write down the ultimate goal, where you want to be by extravaganza. Extravaganza's third week of July, correct? Correct? Third week of July. What are the dates? The 20, what? 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. Yeah, we don't need to waste that. Does somebody know? Somebody got the date?
If I'm
Can't hear you.
7,
Fourth week.
Fourth week.
26, 27, 28, 29.
Oh my
right?
God.
On Thursday.
I thought it was like the 20th. Okay. Wow, it's the end of the month in July. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
put that as the end zone, and then what we'll do is back it all the way up to two 90-day plans to get there. Because if you guys work with a sense of urgency and a fear of loss and have that time and energy compressed, okay, then the rest of the year will take care of itself. The momentum will take care of itself because this is a momentum business. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm just going to stimulate your thinking on a couple of things. We'll start with extravaganza, and then we'll move backwards all the way till today, because that's kind of how you put together your goals and where you want to be in business and stuff like that. You start with the end in mind. You start with your end game, and then you can piece together, incrementally how you're going to get there. Does that make sense? Okay. So a couple of things that you want to do with extravaganza. You want to look at, all the things that are number one on the table. And this is just off the top of my head. This is not in order of importance. Maybe I'll miss a few that you guys can think about and share on the call. But let's just go through a few of them. Number one, you're going to always have the VIP promotions, right? Whatever they're going to come out with. We don't even know what they're going to come out with, but we do know that it's always based on a, production qualification, volume points. Make sense? Okay. So what I would do, first of all, let me make sure we're speaking to the right crowd here, and I'm sure we are, but everybody, I'm assuming, wants to get to the next level and make 2018 the most unbelievable year that you've had in all of your years on this planet, in terms of your health, your business, your prosperity, your personal growth, investing yourself into others, changing other people's lives. We're all on the same page with that, correct? Just wanted to make sure. I know all y'all are like that last week and the week before, but just want to make sure that's the mindset here. So when we look at July, you need to go ahead and extravaganza. You need to make the upfront decision right now, and put it on paper that whatever the promotions are, if there's VIP, platinum, interstellar seating with diamonds and everything else involved on the you're going to sit on gold chairs and red carpet, and you're going to be right up where it smells good and where everybody's dressed good and where all the producers are, because we all know that we're products of our environment, right? We're products of our association, right? So I'm telling you, things are subtle in business. Things are subtle in life when you're sitting next to and you're sandwiched in between two people that did 30,000 volume points in 2 or 3 months. You're going, wow, how'd you do that? And then they start sharing with you. And what you end up finding out is they didn't do a whole lot of different things than you did. They just did a lot more of it, maybe. Or maybe they did the same amount because you're sitting with them. You see the difference? And then the picture starts to become clearer because that stuff subtly rubs off of you. And then, of course, the parties and all the other special things that they have at Extravaganza. So we know that they have that type of stuff every single year, and sometimes they give away money and whatever to help pay for travel. Sometimes they do a hotel, whatever. You just need to make the decision right now. Whatever they put on the table is you're going to qualify for it. Come heck or high water, you're going to qualify for it. You guys got me? So that's one thing that comes to my mind. Whatever the promotions are, you qualify for it, and you do whatever you got to do to qualify for it. You make that upfront decision. Because if you don't make the decision right now that you're going to start sitting in VIP, then guess what ends up happening? You're a product of your environment, and that whatever environment that you're sitting in ultimately rubs off on you as well. So if you're sitting in the nosebleed section, sitting beside somebody that barely scraped 2,500 points for 3 months in a row, guess what? That person's going to be eating a pickle sandwich and didn't brush their teeth and didn't dress good and maybe didn't take a shower and maybe got a kid on their lap distracting you the whole time. It's a different environment. Now I'm throwing out something ridiculous, but it's really not that far off because that's kind of how it is sometimes. It's noisy and you're like getting distracted and they ain't paying attention and whatever. Because they're not of the caliber yet. They haven't been groomed yet. They're more of it's a different crowd is what I'm trying to say. You guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? Now, here's the question. Do you want that intentionally or unintentionally to rub off of you onto you and your family and your business? Do you? Yes or no? You don't want to be sitting beside the guy or the girl eating a pickle sandwich. You don't want to be sitting next to the person that needs to lose 70 pounds and in 1 year lost 7 pounds but gained back 13. That's not a serious person. But you're sitting next to them and they're affecting your financial future. And then what ends up happening is if that happens at the extravaganza, then all this talk about making 2018 the best year that you've ever had in your life is like, it's all smoke. You're blowing smoke. We ain't got no time to blow smoke. You ain't got no time to blow smoke at yourself or anybody else. You got time to build business. You got time to change lives. You got time to focus. You got time to grow. You got time to be disciplined. You got time to be a killer. You got time to be a terminator. You got time to stake your claim. You guys see the difference? It's a whole different mindset at the top than it is casually being in mediocrity at the bottom. Whole different mindset. Whole different mindset. And I'm telling you, it's okay to be in mediocrity, but you can get out of it. It's not okay to be in mediocrity if you've been exposed to something greater and you want something greater. The years go by and the years go by and the years go by and you're still in mediocrity. When you've got support and when you've got people trying to lift you up out of that. Right? Right? And I'm going to tell you, it comes down, it's so simple, and you guys have heard it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, but it comes down to what? Starts with a D. So easy. What is it? What's the word?
Decision.
That's it. It sounds cliche. It sounds too simple. It sounds like there's got to be more, right? But it comes down to a solid, concrete, I would embellish. I would put a few adjectives around decision. A concrete, calculated, purposeful decision with intention. Throw some adjectives in there to make your decision more meaningful to you. Purposeful, calculated, intentional decision. What's another word that gives it more power? Can you think of another word?
Final.
What?
Final decision.
Final. Absolutely. Write these down. Because I'm telling you, you can put this up on your whiteboard. It stares at you every day. It motivates you to go be a killer. You know what I mean by killer. A terminator. Anything that comes in your way, boom, it's yours, man. It's yours. You got it. And you're attracting all this stuff because people want to be around you because you're vibing. You got those vibes. You're different. You walk different. You talk different. You look at people different. You smile different. You're confident different because you're so clear on where you're going. You're doing things with intention. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Can you guys see how that mindset? Hey, that's what separates people that are great, people that separate themselves from the 95%. Okay? The 95% probably don't think this way, at least consistently they don't think this way. I'm not saying the 95% don't think this way at all. I'm sure some of them do, but maybe not consistently enough. You can't just think this way for a couple of days and your life changes. Okay? who knows, have y'all ever seen that show, The $1 Million Listing from it's on Bravo, and they got the Altman boys, and they've done $2 billion in real estate, right? Anyway, pretty interesting. I like to watch that show just because all the deals that they make and negotiations and stuff. It's fascinating to me to watch that. You can learn so much from that. But this guy that I told you about last week, Tai Lopez, he was interviewing the Altman brothers, and Josh Altman wrote a book on this stuff. I'm telling you.
I like that guy.
What? Have you heard it? What'd you say?
I like that guy, Tai Lopez.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Especially when it's not 2 a.m, when he's like, you know, when he's not so loose with his language. But he was interviewing those guys, and I was listening to him first thing this morning, and I've already heard it like 3 times, but repetition. I listen to things over and over and over. And I just keep learning. Same with Mark Cuban. Listen to that interview again today. But with Josh and his brother, they were saying how they first got started in real estate. And they were talking about like serious freaking sacrifice and mindset and being willing to do things for free. You know, they'll go shadow someone, and they were willing to do anything. You understand? Anything. And so I don't want to go way down that road, but they talked a lot about in their business, if you want to succeed in real estate, if you want to succeed in that business, you want to succeed in any business, I'm telling you, they said you got to be willing to pay the price. You got to be willing to put in the sacrifice. It's not, nothing's get rich quick. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the effort. You understand? You got to be willing to do, what's the name of the book Josh wrote? Not sure, but I can get that to you. It's on the podcast. It's on the most, it's on like today or yesterday's podcast. You just look, it's an interview with the Altman brothers. It says something like that. Okay. But, or you can even Google it, Josh Altman book, and I'm sure it'll come up. He's only got one book. And, but just the mindset, it's universal. It's universal. You want to make a lot of money? You want to stake your claim? Hey, you got to make a decision on some things. And I'm telling you, they're very passionate about what they do too. They're excited about it. It's not like a chore. They're excited about what they do. They wake up every morning excited about what they're going to do. They love making the deals. So it's not even like work to them. Okay. So anyway, just pretty interesting how anybody that wants, and this goes back to the extravaganza. You want to separate yourself from the 95%? You got to be willing to do whatever it takes. You got to be willing to make the sacrifice. You got to be willing to put in the time. You got to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. You got to. That's the decision. That's the mindset. That's the intentional, purposeful thing that you have to have in your heart and in your stomach and in your head. You got to have it for more than 2 days, by the way. Okay? And keep in mind this, on that, one of the things that Ty was saying on one of his interviews, I think he went to Arnold Schwarzenegger and interviewed Arnold, and he got all excited about like lifting weights and all inspired. And he said, and that lasted about a week. Like he was really, really motivated after interviewing Arnold to lift. He said it lasted about a week. And he said, that's why it's so important as human beings for us to, you know, get recharged once a week, maybe once 5 days, once every day, you know. And all these people that they're talking to, they read. Mark Cuban reads 2 hours a day still because he don't want nobody else to pass him up. All these youngsters that are out grinding him. He's still got a fear of loss. He wants to learn more. Be knowledgeable about things because things are changing, economy's changing, things change, whatever. He wants to be on top of his game, have his mind sharp, right? So that's kind of the general attitude that you want to have in your business. You want to be flexible, you want to bob and weave, you want to do this, you want to do that, great. But the bottom line, all the principles stay the same in terms of making that upfront decision, a purposeful, intentional final decision. This is where I'm going. You're going to either find me waving the flag from the top or dead on the side from trying. I'm not coming back. That's the decision. That's the decision I took when I was 25 in Herbalife. I got started the second time in Herbalife when I was 25. Well, I was almost 25. It was June of 1991. I turned 25 in August of 91. And I took a one-way ticket to Germany. I didn't have one customer. I didn't have one distributor. And I took a one-way ticket to a country where I couldn't speak the language and I didn't know one person. That was my mountain. One-way ticket. Now, you don't have to be that extreme and stuff like that. You don't got to go to a country where you can't speak the language and where the odds are against you. But in my heart, the odds weren't against me because it was a new country and it was, and I had the vision and I loved Herbalife and I knew the deal and whatever. And I was already inspired by the other stories from people going to new countries and seeing the explosive growth in the first year or two. So I bought into that. So that gave me the, to get that one-way ticket and go. So that was my deal. I'm going to the top. I'm not coming back. One-way ticket. You guys understand? So that's a metaphor for whatever you guys do. When you make that decision, I ain't coming back. I'm telling you, the laws of nature, just the chemistry has a funny way of working out for you. You start attracting good things. You understand? If you do the work. If you do the work. Right? Of course, you got to do the basics and do the work. You got to use and wear and talk, and you got to use and wear and talk, and you got to do it massively, and you got to do it consistently. And even sometimes when you don't want to do it, you got to keep doing it. And if you don't want to do it, take some more tea. If you don't want to do it, then take a lift off and some prepare. Then you'll want to do it. You change in about 20 minutes when you take some prepare and tea and lift off, don't you? Personality changes, right? So that's what's going to fuel you and keep you energized, And y'all all know this. I'm preaching to the choir. But sometimes you might have a day that you're off or this, that. I'm telling you, if you got a day that you're off, look in your tablet box, look at your shakes, look at your product consumption, and you'll probably be able to find some missing ingredients there that maybe I, didn't take what I usually take. And no wonder have a particular energy about myself today. It's happened to me. It'll happen to you too. So if you're on point with your products, that's going to give you the best chance to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof and go out there and conquer the mission. You guys understand? So going back to the extravaganza, upfront decision, qualify for all promotions. Next, write down reasonably but stretch yourself. A realistic goal, but then stretch yourself. Don't say by extravaganza, I'm a senior consultant and I'll be a president's team member by extravaganza. You understand? Because time is not on your side with that, because that's only 6.5 months. Okay. But do a reasonable goal that you can believe in, but then take it a few notches higher to stretch yourself. Right? You guys have heard the old saying, if you shoot for the stars and hit the moon, then you win. You understand? But don't be so unrealistic that you set yourself up for failure. Because what you also want to do is you want to tell people where you're going. You want to tell people that are close to you, this is where I'm going. Because then that puts it out into the universe, number one, and then it puts it out into them, and then it's kind of a psychological deal where it makes you accountable inside your heart and inside your stomach because you said it, because you told these people, and you're not going to lose face. It's a real subtle thing. So tell people that you trust. Tell people that you care about. This is where I'm going. Tell people, and of course you might want to tell people that understand what you're talking about in the first place. If you say I'm going to be millionaire team and you tell your grandmother that doesn't even know anything about Herbalife, that means nothing. She ain't going to keep you accountable. You understand? But tell somebody that like Earl could tell Alcee, I'm going here, or he's going to tell Brandon, or he's going to tell Bob Gray, or he's going to tell somebody where he feels like accountable that I'm not going to let that person down. I'm going to be a man of my word, a woman of my word, whatever. You guys understand the philosophy, right? So that's another thing. So I would put down position. Where do you want to be position-wise? I'll throw out something for you that's reasonable. Every single one of you can be Get Team. Every single one of you can be Get Team. How do I know that? Because I got to Get Team in 9 months in Germany, and I couldn't speak the language. And when I got to Get Team, they didn't have this at the time, but it was equivalent to Get Team 2500. So my third month of Get Team was over 60,000 group volume. So that's 3 times what you need. And you need 50,000 for Get Team 2500. They didn't have that, but you guys get the point. Okay, that makes sense? So if I can get there in 9 months and we only had 2 products and we didn't have these to communicate, we didn't have text messaging, we didn't have video conferencing, we didn't have the tools. You understand? If I can get there in 9 months, first of all, y'all didn't just start yesterday. Y'all didn't just start yesterday. Y'all have already got some stuff underneath you. You already got belief. You've already got the thing. You've already got the vision. You've already been on the products. You've already got your life changed. You believe in the deal. The rest of the thing is just making some of those decisions that this is where I'm going. Make sense? So position in the marketing plan. You know, Get Team, Active World Team, Get Team 2500. Throw them out there. But again, be realistic. Be realistic, but stretch yourself. You understand? If you know without a shadow of a doubt that you got all this stuff brewing and all this momentum from the last quarter of 2017, and then you put your foot on the gas and you blow that thing up in the first quarter of 2018, and you can really see it and you're mapping it out and you're going, oh my goodness. And then if I step it on the gas April, May, and June, right? Then I could possibly not only get to Get Team, but I could be either in qualification, at least in qualification for Get Team 2500. So that could be something that you stretch. And then if you even miss it, you might end up having 40,000 group volume as a Get Team member and be knocking on the door of Get Team 2500. You guys understand? But I wouldn't necessarily be saying going from World Team to Millionaire Team 7500. Because then that's not really something, it might sound good, but it's not like something that you're going to buy into, and it's not going to get you out of bed and make you put a fire in your belly because you really don't believe it in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So be realistic, but at the same time, stretch yourself. So position in the marketing plan. Next, I'm just trying to stimulate your thinking, by the way. There could be plenty others, and I'll let y'all tell me as well. Next, for the extravaganza, income. We all know position determines income. Your position is relative to your, you know, a range of what your income is going to be, right? So put down in 6.5 months, end of July, going into August, what type of income that you want to be to. And then I would write down some reasons why. Why do you want to be at that income? What will it do for you? Like get deep. Write it down, dig deep into your human psychology of why that's important to you. Because when you start tapping into some of that stuff will give you the fire of your desire to go out there every day and do what you need to be doing. Strategizing, planning, execution, brainstorming, staying up late, getting up early, having mentor sessions, figuring it out. Sometimes figuring it out on your own, sometimes figuring it out with a mentor, sometimes figuring out collaborating with other people. You'll figure it out because the juices are flowing. You guys see the difference? You guys see the difference? Okay. So income, and then really start like digging into it. Dig. All the answers are 3, 4, 5 questions deep. So ask yourself, why is that $5,000 a month important to me? Why is that $3,000 a month important to me? Why is that $7,000 important to me? Why is being a Get Team member important to me? Why is it important to me to be VIP seating and be up there in that environment? Why? What will it do for the rest of my year? What will it do for August, right? September and October? You don't need to spend much time on it, but just think, if you compress that period of time from now until extravaganza, the possibilities that'll end up happening in August, September, and October, and November and December. You guys understand? That's what happened to us when we qualified president's team. We compressed 2 90-day plans through June. In June of 99 is when we signed up Bob Gray. You guys understand? And that year we end up qualifying 13 Get Team members. And all the momentum from all that compression of momentum built on itself. And then in the last quarter, starting in the last quarter in October, we hit our first cut of president's team with 247,000 group volume. And it shot up 90,000 from the month before. It was like 257 in September, and it went to 246, or vice versa, 247 or whatever, but it went up 90,000, whatever that math is. From 156 to 247, or 157 to 246, whatever it was, in 1 month. But at the beginning of the year, we weren't planning on getting our first cut of president's team in October. You guys see the difference? What we were planning on is momentum, working towards the extravaganza, working event to event, working the first quarter, parlaying that momentum from the first quarter into the second quarter. And then look what happened to the end of our year. It happened without us even, because that's what momentum does. If you set your foundation right, and you put in the time, and you put in the work, and you put in the effort with belief. Okay? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to put your goal as October, November, December as being at a possible level in the company if you first do that 7-month deal with that compression of time. I'm not saying to not also spend 2 minutes where you could be. I'm just saying don't spend 2 days planning out where you'll be in November. You understand? If you believe that your work from January through the extravaganza, what all the goals that you're going to be, the end zone that you're going to reach in that period of time, you can definitely spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and start dreaming about what that could lead to in the final 4 months of the year, September through December, from the momentum, whether you like it or not, because it's a snowball, momentum. Does this make sense? Okay, so position, VIP seating, and all the promotions Herbalife will throw out, income. Is there any other thing wrapped around the extravaganza that you guys can think of?
What I say, it goes income is see how many have a vision of how many people you're going to bring with you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys get that down? That's a biggie, because that's going to directly affect what? Your last quarter. Not just your last quarter, but your last 2 quarters. Okay? And you guys know on that too, because you need to really, imagination. You have to have imagination. You have to have imagination. Imagine it, because if you don't picture it in your mind, if you don't imagine it, then how close are we going to be to getting it? If you start imagining these things, so what Alcee just said, if you think, I'll give you just a number, okay, an easy number, okay? You got 10 people at the extravaganza. I know some of you have more, some of you have less, but let me just give you an average, something that's easy to believe in. I guarantee you, if you were offered $1 million to have 10 people at the extravaganza, a minimum of 10, how many would you have at the extravaganza? You'd have 10. All day long, you'd have 10 if you were offered $1 million. So if the reason's big enough, you'll do the work to get the 10. 10's easy to get there. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to France. It's in Houston. Big deal. It's in the middle of the country. You understand? Especially you folks from Louisiana. Geez, y'all can have 100, 200, 300 from Louisiana. Okay? So if, and by the way, guess what? Out of those 10 people, you realize that a good percentage of them you might not even met yet. Y'all got to get that. You might not even met them yet. All the 100% of the people that are going to the extravaganza ain't all the 100% of the people that you have right now. It's going to be new customers that you get, new preferred members that you get that end up you know, loving Herbalife and getting their life changed on the products and whatever, and then they move up to distributor and whatever, then they end up coming to the extravaganza with you. Or they might already be a supervisor. They might already be a world team member because you got them to the LDW. You guys understand that? And again, a good percentage of them, I don't know what percent, okay? But a good percentage of them you haven't even met yet. Now, a good percentage of them also you might have met yet. They might already be in your group. They might already be a customer that turns into a distributor, okay? So take care of everybody. Don't prejudge anybody. Don't prejudge anybody. What if I prejudge Bob Gray, petroleum engineer? Okay? Never, well, I don't really think this happened, but he definitely wasn't into personal development. I was fixing to say never read a personal development book in his life. I don't know if that's true, but he definitely was resistant to personal development in the beginning. But then he became a disciple of personal development over time through osmosis. You guys understand that? So what if you prejudge? You know, not a salesman type guy, not a salesman personality when I met him. Still not. And by the way, that's actually good, because if you're not a salesman personality, people believe you more. They trust you more if you're not like all, you know, trying to sell them a car or whatever, you know. So don't prejudge any of your customers. Don't prejudge any of your potential people, because that person could be your next Get Mill or Pres team member at the extravaganza, not qualified at this extravaganza Pres team, but in the future can be your president's team member. You guys understand? You remember how resistant Garen Jones was in the beginning, but then he fell in love with the pumpkin spice and all those simple things that reminded him of grandma's cooking. It had nothing to do with his sponsor explaining the marketing plan. No, it was the pumpkin spice that made his heart feel good. And then all the other things, all the other osmosis things that happen. You just never know what it's going to be for different people, okay? But I will tell you something. You can increase the odds for yourself exponentially by, with your imagination, you imagining the group that you're going to have at extravaganza, putting a number down so you have something to work towards, put a number that you believe in, but then stretch it. You understand? So if you believe in 10, then put down 15. Don't put down 50 if you believe in 10. But if you believe in 10, put down 15. I know I can get 10, but I know if I really, really, really am on point with my stuff for 2 sets of 90 days, then I really believe that I can get 15. And you might get 18 or 20 with that formula. But worst case, you'll get 10 or 11 or 12. You guys got me? Now, if you don't do any of this, you might be lucky if you have 3. You guys see the difference? There's reasons why people get, you know, in any business up to wherever they get. You got to plan this stuff out. You got to plan it out. When's a good time to plan it? Well, it's January 3rd. Either yesterday or the day before or today. Right? And sometimes you continually plan. When you build a house, you're always making modifications, right? That you didn't think about in the beginning. So you can modify your plan as you go. But you definitely got to have some sort of a blueprint. Make sense? So good on Alcy. How many people you're going to have there? Write this stuff down. By the way, when you write it down, don't write it down on this and then shut the drawer. That does nothing. It's inside your desk. It can't even get, the vibrations can't even get out into the universe. Y'all got to figure out a place, write it down, big whiteboard, have your command center, whatever, where this stuff is staring at you all the time, in a place that you can modify it all the time. Make adjustments, make revisions as you learn and as you grow. That make sense? So what else for extravaganza? How many people are you going to have there? Anything else that you can think of? You probably think of some few things after. Can you think of anything, Earl? Is that pretty much
Yeah, VIP qualifications. You already touched on that, though.
All that.
You already touched
Yep.
on that.
That's pretty much it. How many people you have there, position in the marketing plan, income, making the upfront decision that you qualify for whatever Herbalife puts out there. Okay. Now, how are you going to do all that? Now let's back it up till today. How are you going to do all that for Extravaganza, which is our ultimate goal? Well, we're going to back it all the way up to January 3rd, and we're going to look at our next event. We're going to work event to event. So whatever events you have in your city, whether it's your STS, whether it's local things during the week that you congregate with your people, that helps you bring more people, helps you get more customers, helps you get potential distributors, right? You got to pack that snowball every day and every week. And whatever event you do have. So the event is not just an STS, for example. The event is not just an LDW. An event could be your HOM, an event could be your fit camp, an event could be the shake party, an event could be dance fit, an event could be any of that stuff. An event could be tonight. Tonight's an event. Getting your people on the conference calls, on the video conferences. You think these video conferences will help your people or hurt your people? Let me tell you something. If these video conferences hurt your people, then you ain't got the right people. Tell you that much right now. You need to get good people. Because if these video conferences hurt your people, they need to get their brains cleaned out a little bit. Isn't that right? So of course, these video conferences ain't gonna hurt nobody. They're only gonna help people grow. Okay? So we work event to event, your monthly stuff, your weekly stuff. Okay? You want to make sure, and by the way, this is a good time for y'all to go back and check in with your people and check in on their commitments, check in on what they told you, check in on what they want to see if they're even, I hate to say it this way, but to see if they're worth you investing any more of your time, thoughts, or energy with them. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you don't say it the way that I just said it. Don't come off the call and say it the way I just said it, because that's not the way you say it. I just said it because I can't think of the right way to say it right now. Of course, be eloquent with your language so you don't, offend people and belittle them and patronize them and push buttons of when they were 7 years old and their parents did that to them. Because then they'll never answer the phone again and you'll wonder why. Nothing's working. Well, not working because you said a few things that offended the crap out of them. You know what I mean? So, of course, be careful with your language, right? Treat people the way that you would want to be treated. Say things the way that you would want to have it said to you. Of course, don't beat around the bush, and everybody's not so fragile. But, of course, put disclaimers on what you say sometimes. You have to do that so people don't take things the wrong way. And by the way, keep in mind, while we're talking about that, we've talked about this in the past. What have they said before about texting and stuff like that? If you want to make sure somebody misunderstands what you're trying to say, text them. They said that. You guys get the point, right? Now, that's not all the time, but when you're handling business and handling, human relations with people, hey, if you want to make sure something gets miscommunicated, text them and have them text you back and text back and text back, especially when it comes down to solving problems and getting into their psyche. You text back and forth with people, I guarantee you there's going to be a misunderstanding somewhere. And sometimes they ain't even going to tell you. They're just going to stop returning your calls and returning your text, and they're going to be unavailable from now on because they got their feelings hurt from something that you texted, and that's the last thing that you meant. Does that make sense? Because they took it wrong because of the space that they're in. They read it wrong. You said it one way. They received it another way because they might be in a lack thinking negative space in their life. Does that make sense? So be conscious of that too. Go ahead, Earl.
That's a great point about checking in on people. That comes to customers, prospects, people that's told you that they're interested, and people that are already existing in the business. And Glenn and I had a conversation about this a little bit last month, and when communicating with people, before I started communicating with people, number one, I made sure that my mindset was good first. So that means that I made sure that I was always fresh from listening to Challenge to Succeed, at least 2 or 3 clips from those. Another one is listening to Mark Hughes, about 15 or 20 minutes of Mark Hughes, making sure my mind is right. You want to make sure your mind is right before talking to somebody else, because you're about to 9 times out of 10, if based on, let's say you're talking to a customer and the customer says, I need to lose 70 pounds, if not a prospect, say I need to lose 70 pounds. And after that, the next day, they posted about French fries and chicken nuggets, right? So the next day you see that posted, and then you call them up, and instead it's like, you said that you was gonna do this. What happened?
Right.
Right? That's the last thing you wanna come across. So you wanna have some personal development in your mind. That's like kind of Glenn was talking about, like, scrub your mind a bit when you're talking, because the number one thing we have to remember is that when people do these things, it's not about us. Sometimes it can feel personal. It can feel personal. You can remember that it's not about us. Whatever situation that they're dealing with, because they're choosing not to go in a direction that they told us that they want to go in going forward, but now they started to take actions that has no indication they want to go in that direction now. You want to make sure you have that conversation with them and find out exactly where they are mentally. You want to have that conversation with them. And a big thing I want Glenn, I see Terry on the call, Terry. I see Terry on the call. I don't know if Terry was on a call when Glenn talked about the conversation he had with Bob Gray to get him to either Extravaganza or STS. I can't remember which one. But the number one thing, and I've always been using this, talking to people at every single level, whether it's customer, business, or just a prospect, is always checking in on them. Check on them first, finding out exactly what's going on with them, finding out what's going on in their lives, being more interested than interesting, making sure you understand so they could feel like, okay, because you got to remember, because I remember there was one time, there's a conversation, I remember there was one time I wasn't taking Glenn's call before I got serious about the business, because I was caught up in the world of something else. And it had nothing to do with Glenn. It had nothing to do with him. So we have to remember, when we're making these calls to people, they have something going on in their own world. You're the last thing on their mind right now. Right? You're the last thing. Now you're about to enter this world that really has nothing to do with you. And then when you jump into it, then they don't do what you want them, or say what you want them to say, or do what you want them to do, then we can end up taking it personal and end up saying things we should not say. But it all comes down to, okay, once we find out what's going on with them, then they realize, oh my God, okay, this is not a call about just to get me to an event. They really care about what's going on. Once you go to that phase and find out what's going on, the Bob Gray, remember situation when Glenn talked to him, he found that Bob, because he's working in I forgot the job, some kind of engineer job, but he wanted to be home. He wanted to be here with his daughter more. And still to this day, I've talked to Bob recently, that's what he still enjoys doing, being around his family, right? But once he found out and they're having that conversation, okay, Bob, if that's what you said you want to do, here's what I suggest we do. Here's what I suggest we do. And then so it's the same thing. That wasn't about just, that still goes with some people, like, for example, like a senior consultant like Renita, who hit the second cut of that plan. Congratulations on that. But like, she has a customer base. So like for her, like for prospects, when she's working with people who saying they want to do these things, the conversation is, okay, what's going on with the kids? What's going on with your husband? What's going on with your job? All these kind of conversations. All right, hey, when we last talked, when you filled out a wellness profile, you said you wanted to get healthier for 2018 so you could be looking great for vacation, right? And okay, let me ask you this. Let's say the girl's name is Justina. All right, Justina, that's still a situation. Is that still the same thing? Is that what you're still trying to do? Or, are things getting in the way of that? What's going on? Yeah, I still want to do it. Okay, great. Well, here's what I suggest we do. Let's work together. Let's find a way. Let's find a way. And when that happens, the whole sky can open up for both parties. For both parties, not just for Renita to get Justine to go somewhere. Because what Glenn just said, when it comes to checking in on people, all Renita is really doing when she's having that conversation with Justina is to see that if Justina is still worth the time.
Exactly.
And that's not being rude. That's just saying she just want to work with people like we all do. We want to work with people who want to work with us. We want to work with people who want to work with us. And that's how, but having these conversations are very key. And so that's the main thing, guys. Just, when you have a conversation, let's make sure we're all, because I'm doing the same thing right now. I got 2 parts to the business I'm doing, lining up for new. And then because I have existing, I'm rechecking in on some people, seeing how they're doing, because they may not be ready right now. That's okay. I still love them. They're still on the products. They're still doing things or whatever. Exactly. But they, I still want them to have space, a few of those people to come back and still, so we can still, have that connection. Okay. So make sure we have that, don't blast people out the water.
Yeah. Well said, Earl. Couple things on that. Number 1, new solves all. Y'all write it down. I know y'all wrote it down 3 weeks ago, but write it on today's notes, 2018, right? New solves all, right? And by the way, what Earl was saying as well, whenever it's whatever happens with them and it ain't about you, well, that's also something on us, that whatever's going on with them or what they say or don't say, or if they respond or don't respond, guess what? That can't push our childhood buttons either. As the leader, you guys got me? So you can't be getting your feelings all hurt just because they didn't text you back and because they didn't whatever. I've been texting a buddy of mine out in California for 2 days. Nothing. You know what? I got a text in the gym and he said, I just got a new phone today. I lost my phone on Sunday. I was just able to get my phone activated. I was wondering what was going on with him. But guess what? I didn't have my feelings all hurt. I just figured maybe he's got the flu. Give the people the benefit of the doubt. So see, it is a 2-way street, like Earl said. So be conscientious and cautious with your language and your delivery. What Earl said, let's, that means let us. Let's is let us. Let's see if we can figure it out. Let us see if we can figure this thing out together. Whether we're talking about losing weight, whether we're talking about becoming a preferred member, whether we're talking about how you're going to figure out getting a babysitter for the kids so you can come to the STS, or whether we're going to figure out how to get your husband on board with the situation. You know what I mean? See, you get paid in direct proportion for the value that you bring to the marketplace. Interesting. We've been teaching that forever in Herbalife, haven't we? The marketplace pays for value. You get paid in direct proportion for the value that you bring. Well, guess who also said that? The Altman brothers in real estate. You get paid for problem solving. You get paid for dealing with, some people that are a little bit, it's like solving a Rubik's Cube sometimes. You got to deal with it. So that means that you got to be on point. You got to be at that level of value that's valuable to them, that can help them see the light, so you can lead them to the promised land. You guys got me? That's why you get paid the big money. You get paid the big money for you not to get your feelings hurt, even when they say something that they shouldn't have said to you. Because sometimes they're not careful with their language. They haven't listened to Jim Rohn, The Seasons of Life, and The Challenge to Succeed, and Anthony Robbins, and Joel Osteen, and everybody else. Maybe they haven't listened to it, so they're not careful with their language. And maybe their entire environment that they associate with, whether it's family or friends, is not careful with their language. Like Jim Rohn says, they're lazy in learning. So maybe that's just who they are. They're a product of their environment. So you can't take that stuff personal. You just got to understand that's their personality and just kind of decipher through that stuff and then let water off a duck's back. I've had people get mad at me before, my own distributors underneath me. Well, you said this and you said that. And when they told me what I said and how it made them feel, I can remember, I can't remember specific times, but I do remember the feeling of being crushed, because that's the last thing that I intended. And it's not even, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it that way. But they took it that way. And then they were mad at me. And then it's like, okay, you got to clean things up. Listen, whatever. Right? But if you can clean that stuff up, guess what? That's being a master communicator. And that's being able to pick people up and dust them off and make them feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof, make people feel great about themselves. It's part of your job. It's what Mark Hughes taught us. 3 things you want to do: make people feel great about themselves, make people feel great about you, and make people feel great about Herbalife, no matter what. You guys got me? And sometimes people, well, that's a lot. That's a lot to do all the time. If that's my job, guess what? You want to make $10,000 a month or not? I tell you what, don't learn how to do this and keep making $500 a month. Learn how to do this, make $10,000 a month. Which do you choose? Learn how to use your words and your inflections and your let's do this and here's what I suggest we do. Let's do this together based on what you've shared with me. And then learn how to paint the picture. Listen, if we can figure this out, here's what life is going to look like for you. Then you can start saying you, not for, here's what life's going to look like for us. No, don't say that. Because now it's about you. If we can figure this out, and I know we can, by the way, because you're smart. What did you just do? You're empowering them. How many people told you they're smart lately? Anybody tell you you're smart today, Earl? Probably not. Maybe so. But usually people aren't that generous with their compliments outside of Herbalife, are they? You don't go to the gym and they go, oh my God, you're a smart guy, right? They're not just complimenting you up and down like we do in Herbalife. But if, oh, by the way, with all this, make sure that it comes from the heart, because what comes from the heart goes into the heart. This is not about manipulating people and saying a bunch of stuff that you don't mean. You guys see the difference in that? So learn how to be authentic and genuine with the way that you feel, because I'm telling you, and by the way, sometimes the most silent, introverted people are your superstars. Put some tea in them and it's like a freaking rocket ship. They change personalities. Boom. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You get them hooked on the products. Get them bleeding green. Get them going to some STSs, hearing it and seeing it from other people besides you. Because if they don't go to STSs and go to the events and they want to build a business, how likely is that formula going to work if they're just working with you? You guys got me? That formula ain't going to work very well, because after a while, they're going to become immune to you, no matter how good you are, no matter how good I am, and they're going to stop listening to you. Even they don't even know why they're not listening to you. They're just tired of hearing you. You know what I mean? For some reason, and all of a sudden you sound like their dad when they were 7 and you didn't realize it, but that's what happened. You know what I mean? So guess what? They go to an STS, 200 people, 300 people, 500 people, all the people coming across the stage, all the different personalities that are doing the sections and training. And all of a sudden, guess what? They start getting infected and injected. They start getting herbalized. You guys understand? They start getting herbalized. Then they're in. They're involved in the system, under the tent, under the umbrella, the structure. So that's where you want to get them. Okay. And by the way, one other point, I just want to state this, by the way, just so y'all are completely clear. whenever we're talking about going to your people, your existing people that you have, and sometimes reevaluating just to see where they're at, because it helps you help them, right? It's like that Jerry Maguire stuff, right? It helps you help them if you know where they are and where they want to. So sometimes you have to reevaluate. Now, you don't want to start out the conversation, hey, I want to reevaluate you. I want to reevaluate your situation. No, these are things you in your head you keep to yourself. They don't want to be evaluated. You come with a pen. Let me evaluate you today. No. That's not what we're talking about, right? We want to, but in our head, we're doing a reevaluation, a reassessment, because you need to know. Okay? I ask my people all the time, hey, was what you wanted a month ago, 2 months ago, is it still the same thing? I've had to ask some of my new people lately that I signed up, hey, do you still want this? Yes, I really, 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 really do. But they haven't come to the STS or gotten on the video conference, but they really, really want to do it. But they're very, very, very busy with school and work and kids and this and that. So that means right now is just not the perfect time. And I go, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I really do. Because it really lets me know. That way I don't have to every single week, oh, you got to get on the call. You got to get on the call. And by the way, you didn't get on the call, so let me whip you and beat you up for not getting on the call and not going to the STS. No, because I just got back into Earl Thomas the first 3 or 4 months. Driving an hour to work in Arlington and driving back and this and that and wife out of town and a little 6-month-old baby. And hey, I got it. Things are tough when it's new and you're not herbalized yet. My only mission was getting Earl, not just herbalized in the products, but also herbalized with Herbalife structure, system. Because then it makes your life easy, because now Earl is an Herbalife independent distributor. Never misses an STS. You guys know I never call Earl and say, you got to go to the STS. You guys understand that, right? He goes to the STS because he understands how important it is, part of the structure. Not just, by the way, he doesn't just go because he knows he's got to go. He goes because he wants to go. This is his life. This is his livelihood. He wants to go. He's hungry. Okay? Oh, I see you raise your hand. Let me get to my point of what I was going to say. So when you go back and assess these people, this is for you in your head. You're not going back to beg them to get serious, and you're not going back on your hands and knees with that posture to, oh, please get involved with us. Because sometimes it feels like you, and I know, raise your hand, I know sometimes whether you like it or not, you feel like that in your head and in your heart, that now you're begging them and you're trying to figure out the right stance, posture to come at them to get them to help you to help them, so you can find out all this stuff. Does this stuff make sense? So I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Whenever we're reassessing or reevaluating or reestablishing, because we honestly don't know. Maybe they do want the thing, but their husband's just been, being a jerk to them about it because he thinks it's Scientology. I don't know. You don't know. Like Jim Rohn says, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. You don't know what's going on behind them closed doors. Maybe she thinks you're a Scientologist calling her up all the time. And he's like, stop talking to that man. They're going to suck you in. They're going to audit you. You know what I mean? You don't know. And then finally, one day, she comes clean with you. Well, this has been going on. You go, oh, that makes sense. So the point is you make sure that you don't have a posture about yourself that when you are reestablishing, if they're what they want, what they don't want, that you don't have a feeling in your heart or your stomach like you're begging. You're not on your knees begging anybody to get with the program here. You're not on your knees begging anybody to go build a business. If you're in real estate, are you begging them to become a real estate agent? No, either you want to be one or you don't. But just find out. Oh, by the way, with nicer language than the way I just said. This is a training here. Keep in mind, when you talk to people one-on-one, you be better with your language, your delivery. Okay. But I just want to really, really emphasize that to y'all, because I know sometimes y'all get put in a compromised feeling where it almost feels like you are in the lesser compromised position where you don't have the upper hand, so to speak, in terms of the relationship. Now you're almost coming across like, please get with the program, meaning please get on our conference calls, please come to the STSs. Oh, please, you're missing out here. Now you're almost like in begging mode. You're not begging anybody. You're not getting down on your knees pleading for them to, change their life on the products or in the business. If they want it, you'll show them how. You just need to know where they're at so you can know how to help them. It's very simple. Don't make it more difficult than that. And then keep in mind what I said earlier, new solves all. Because if you've already got 10 new ones, then that gives you leverage to go back to them and say, listen, things are blowing up here. Just want to make sure, if I can help you with anything. They go, oh, I'd love for your help. It's just I've been busy and the kids and this and that. And then I had this happen. Then I broke my toe and then I broke my hand. And then the kid happened and then the flu happened. And then our dog died. You're going, oh my God, I didn't know all that happened. That all happened within 3 weeks? Well, that makes sense. Well, listen, when do you think all this stuff will clear out? She goes, in a couple of weeks, you go, listen, I'm here to help you. Whatever, things are blowing up. It's unbelievable. See, so now you come into these conversations with less attachment. Make sense? And now you're not so nervous and you're not begging. Let me tell you something. We do not have a SKU. There's not an order number at the Herbalife warehouse for knee pads. So you ain't on your knees begging. Nobody begging anybody to change their life on the products or change their life in the business. You want it? I'll show you how to get it. We got it? You want it? Let's go. We got it? You don't want it? No problem, because I just got 10 more. I'm fixing to get 10 more. By the way, without arrogance or ego. Again, this is just for illustration. You guys got me? Don't say that to that person. Okay? But this is in your head. So when you got that level of posture and confidence in genuine, authentic belief about what you're doing, don't you think that you're going to come across to them differently? You're going to come across confident. You're going to come across relaxed. We call it relaxed intensity. You'll come across relaxed. And you'll come across a much better communicator, a much more confident communicator, and never will there ever be any feeling of begging. New solves all. New solves all. You get new people all the time. Then trust me, you'll walk into these conversations with a different posture. You'll walk into these conversations with a different feeling about yourself, delivering value to the marketplace, solving problems, helping people, lifting people up, giving a helping hand. I'll show you the promised land. Oh, you're not interested in seeing the promised land? No problem. I didn't realize that. You should have told me a long time ago. I would have stopped texting you. Oh, you are interested? Let's go, baby. I'll walk hand in hand with you. We'll go together. Let's do this. You guys see the difference? This is for your own soul as a leader. As a leader. This is for your soul. This is so you can have your sanity and know, your posture, your stance on things. Last thing that I'll say on this. Approach everything with the mindset like you're already a president's team member. When you're dealing with your customers, distributors, anybody, potentials, what if you're already making $20,000 a month? Put yourself in that mind frame, that energy, wavelength. I've already made it. I'm already making 20 grand a month. How would you be with them then? Would you sit back a little bit more and relax? Because it's not about the money anymore, is it? That's the last thing that it's about, because you already got the money. Now it's about them. It's about, just giving your heart to them, giving your time to them, giving the time as long as it's deserved, because you're always testing your people without them knowing it, right? A little silent test, okay, to see if they're coachable, teachable, following your lead, okay? Just make sense? Okay? But y'all have the mindset of a president's team member, the mindset of somebody that's already made it. you'll approach things and conversations a lot differently. You'll be more relaxed about yourself, and people will accept what you say different because where you're at in your head, and you communicate differently to these folks. Okay, they don't pick up a vibe like you need them and that you are needy or desperate for them. Because some people pick up that vibe, whether it's on purpose or not on purpose, but some people just have that going into the relationship since it's a sponsor relationship. You're the sponsor, you're the this, and now they're like, and then some people don't like to be told what to do. Going back to their childhood, some people are stubborn. A lot of people are stubborn. So then it doesn't have anything to do with you. So you got to get yourself in the mind frame like you've already made it. You're already on the red carpet. You're already wearing the freaking diamonds. That's how you approach conversations and approach relationships. Then things start coming out of your mouth that even surprise you. You understand? Probably it's already happening. I know y'all are quoting Jim Rohn in your conversations. Okay. So that's that. Were you raising your hand, Earl?
Yes. Number one thing I like about when I was talking to Renita about something, and when she was working on her goals, and she was saying what helped her push, she hit her last cut. I just know when I looked in the back office, it hit. She said what made her push at the end, and she knew that she was helping people. She knew that at the end of the day, it wasn't about the sale. She knew that she was helping people because she knew she was talking to people about, hey, this is what you want to do. And she want to make sure that they actually get the help that they need. And sometimes and I noticed that even with me, as we go through personal development, go through the roller coaster of life, and we talk to people, we want to make sure that it's a beautiful thing about this business. That's what I love about it, is that we're in the business of helping others. We're in the business of helping others. We know we're about to get them into better health. We know we're about to put them in a better financial situation once they get involved and they actually follow the marketing plan and get plugged in. And that's the great thing about it. Having that is a huge factor. So we go in, and man, by the way, I want to commend BK on what he's doing in his challenge and all the lives that he's changing. And you can tell that what he's presenting to the people is vision. He has this guy, man, you like an architect, brother. Like, you done became like an architect. I can just see you got it. So like, he's become an architect where he's put himself in a position where people see that either they get on a train or they're gonna have to wait another year or so to get back on the next route, So, and it's extremely clear because he's coming from a position of clarity, and in a position where he has older people, probably almost, like old enough to be his, parents or something, and that are seeing like, oh my God, this guy knows where he's going. I have to be involved. And I see them posting about, like, this is not quote unquote, because you're in your 20s, typically it's like this kid. They're like, this is where he's going. This is what he's doing. Cameron's posting, this man has helped change my life. He's been an integral part in doing that. But this is all by design. Design comes from, Jim Rohn talks about it. Jim Rohn talks about when he's speaking in a building, he said this building didn't just happen. It was in somebody's mind first. It was in somebody's mind first. They thought of it. So they had to complete it first. They had to complete the building first in their mind and then put it on paper, then present it to the contractors, then present it to the builders, because the builders can't just go out there and start laying bricks on some ground. It must be completed first. So I'm giving a great example. What Brandon is doing is that he has like what Glenn is talking about, is putting that together. And when we have that together, and then go to a person and have a conversation about, hey, where quote unquote reevaluation conversation, right? Hey, this is where we're going. This is what we want to do. All right. But if they say something quote unquote dumb, right? I don't know where else to put it, but that's how it's going to feel sometimes. But if they say something that's not in line with what they're saying that they want, they'll detect subconsciously that, hey, this guy's going to go no matter what. This guy's going to take it to the top no matter what. You know, if you're watching what Brandon's doing, you know, you could tell the people that are following him or a part of what he's doing, they understand that. That's because it's a design. Whatever he's done, you could tell he put it together and then presented it. You can see it. And that's what, when you have that kind of, that's exactly what Glenn is talking about. And that gives you the position of power, and not a position of what you have to, like you said, they don't sell on e-pads at the warehouse, or there are no SKU numbers for it, because people follow leaders. You see what they do to beggars. Just go on the street and see what they do. They pass them up. They don't, you know, unfortunately, that's just the way of the world. You know, few people help them out, but people are not looking for beggars. They're looking for leaders. So that is so key to stepping into that conversation. And then that's the best way to help others. So Brandon, great job what you're doing, man. And thank you, Glenn, for because Glenn, when I first met Glenn, and like I said, the challenge of him trying to get me to STS and these things I had going on, like I said, me being young in the business, I'm still young in the business, but really young back then, was that, hey, these are real to me, Glenn. Like I really wanted, because I really wanted to do everything he was telling me to do. I really did. But it was like, man, you know, this is too real to me right now. I want to do it, but, you know, and I can't. So it wasn't like, but I did know this. I did know he was going with or without me. I did know that. And I knew that I had to hurry to get my stuff together as fast as I could. So he didn't leave me, because I'm like, well, I don't know how long this guy's going to be around to mentor me.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, what, you calling me old?
No, I didn't say you're old. I just said I didn't know. No, what I mean, like around, like, I mean, like, I don't know how long you know, hey, you know, somebody else is going to, I don't know that you may not have interest in doing it anymore. See, that's what I mean.
I was trying to be funny. See how people take things sometimes. You calling me old?
No, man. No, I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, like, even with Brandon, I know people are kind of getting that sense that they're realizing that, hey, because I know where he's going. And even with me, like, literally people have been seeing me go to Arlington, because I'm working on something ridiculously huge in Arlington right now. It's going to blow people's minds. Right, they know Earl's driving from Arlington for a reason, or Grand Prairie for a reason. Like, I'm literally getting phone calls from other people I've talked to in the business. Earl, what are you working on? What's going on? They say you're making shakes out there. And what?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll see you at Extravaganza.
I was like, don't worry about me. You know
I'm wearing red because I'm gonna be on that red carpet. You might not even be able to see me because I blend right in.
But at the end of the day, but it's not. It's about. But my thing is, I've been working on my things behind the scenes and working, you know, and when I talk to the people in Arlington, you know, there's a master's group that I'm working on out there, painting the vision to them, is that, you know, they know I know where I'm going. They know, even though they got a lot of people, they know I'm not coming at them like, oh my God, I need y'all.
Exactly.
They know I'm not coming at them like that. You know, we need each other. It's more that type of picture. You know, we need each other. I could do this for you guys. You know, hey, you know, this is what it could look like. I can see how much, you know, shape you guys can get. This is, if you want to do income, this is how much y'all can make. You know, that kind of deal. And it's a better relationship. It's a better conversation.
Yeah. And by the way, on what Earl was saying, I'm gonna tell you all this. And a lot of times, like in Earl's situation that he was in the very beginning, the first 2, 3, 4 months, something like that. Sometimes you ain't gonna know how to solve problems for those people. You ain't got all the answers for their life. So he had a job out in Arlington, driving an hour to work, an hour home from work, got a 6-month-old baby. What would have been 8 months old? I can't remember. But anyway, you guys get the point. Okay. Sometimes you ain't got all the solutions for them. So you got to realize that, and don't even be acting like you got all the solutions. Because I remember Earl telling me what's going on and this going on, that's going on. I do remember saying, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And I do remember saying, geez, the more you talk, the more I realize how fortunate I have it in life. Because, man, I can't even imagine driving an hour to work to Arlington and an hour home every day. And by the way, I wasn't trying to manipulate him. I was trying to feel his pain. I was like, I was giving him a witness. I'm going, I can't really imagine that because I haven't had a job since I was 19. So I can't even really, Earl, man, I feel for you. That was the point. So sometimes just empathy. Damn, it's not even about helping them solve the problem, empathy. And then but at the same time, I'm not all here desperate because guess what? I just signed up so-and-so and I just signed up so-and-so and I got new people coming to the fit camp. I'm doing my deal anyway. Earl's one piece of the puzzle. And I'm going to be there for him anytime he wants me to be, as long as it's effort for effort. As long as he shows me something, I show him something, or vice versa. It's not always like tit for tat. Sometimes, like with some of your people, you do 3 times the effort than they do in the beginning. But then after a while, they come around. You guys got me? But new solves all. So if you're always having new blood, then you're always excited and you're not all attached and clingy to these people. Then you can have that real authentic empathy for their situation and just be patient enough to let things work it out on its own. And I do know this. If people want it bad enough, they'll figure out how. Whenever you got a strong enough reason why, you'll figure out how. That's what Jim Rohn says. So you could be the conduit to that. I mean, I remember saying something to Earl about, I can't imagine driving 1 hour there and 1 hour back. Wow, that's a serious freaking deal. Then I'm like, how do you do it? And he goes, I don't know. I just got to do what I got to do. And I go, respect. I don't know how you do it. I guarantee you, at some level, somewhere deep down inside him, maybe on that phone call, maybe after the phone call, maybe 2 days later, he's going, damn, I don't want this life no more. Like there are some people that don't have to do this. So I do need to make some decisions. I do need to figure it out. So the thing is you could be the conduit and not even intentionally manipulating them because it was never about that. It was about giving them empathy for his situation. And then they end up figuring it out on their own a week later. Because they're like, damn, I don't want to be this person driving an hour and then put my kid in daycare and all this stuff. So I'm going to have to buckle up here and make some decisions. You guys got me? You guys got me? All right, good. Good call tonight, guys. Good call. So listen, in summary, extravaganza is the end zone. Write this stuff down. Dig deep with what you want. Write it down. Whoever you feel comfortable with that's going to give you some sense of accountability where you could put that out in the universe. I'm going to be here and I'm going to be there and make it a challenging game that you're going to play, that you're going to be inspired about every single day. Back that thing up to January 3rd. We work event to event, day by day, week by week, STS to STS, LDW in April. And trust me, if you condense that 2 90-day plans to the extravaganza, momentum will take care of itself. Then you can evaluate and reevaluate. You can adjust along the way. You adjust it along the way, modify it along the way of the first 2 sets of 90 days. And you'll also be adjusting and modifying in your 3rd and 4th quarter. I'm telling you, this is how you make 2018 the year of all years. But it's by design, not by chance. You guys know that. Get it down. It's by design, not by chance. Make sure you've got that on your January 3rd, 2018 notes. It's by design, not by chance. You ain't just going to use Where and Talk and magically show up at the extravaganza in VIP and everything else. It's by design. Blueprint it. Make modifications. Make adjustments. Be willing to maybe change something in your plan 3 weeks from now that maybe was a good idea today, but you ain't seeing results for it. Be willing to adapt and go. You guys got me? You might need to modify on the way. Okay? Monica, do you have anything? I'll close out.
Happy New Year, everybody. Great job, everybody. Glenn, you did great. And Earl, thank you so much for sharing. Brandon, you're doing awesome. Renetta, I'm still freezing from being at Costco with you in the parking lot. Oh my gosh. So, one thing I do want to say, definitely extravaganza, then backing it down, like Glenn said, to the April LDW, and of course the JKO that we're going to have here in Dallas, and of course you guys out in California. But you know, one thing that grew our check is I remember people talking about for every person that you bring to the extravaganza, you're consider it $1,000 check. So in my mind, it was like, okay, how many? And by the way, disclaimer: when we talk about bringing people, it's first line distributorships, not couples. You don't count the couples. You count the first line distributorship. Okay. So that's what we focused on. We focused on how many first line distributorships were we going to have at extravaganza. And that's really, I mean, we had things in motion, but that was one of our bottom line numbers, is how many first line distributorships were we going to have at extravaganza. And we had like 8 people. And I remember Larry Holsey had around 6, and some other people had some lower numbers. And we were just like, oh my gosh, we got 8 people. We're so freaking excited.
First line.
Do what? First
First
line,
line.
yes.
Reminding them, first
then
line,
Larry
not
would say,
including
well,
second and third line.
right. And Larry would say, he asked us, well, is that first line? And we're like, yeah, it's first line, you know, because some people get faked out when you have your second and third and fourth line. You know, you will have a big organization there, but if you want your check to grow this year, it's called first line action. Like Glenn says, new blood, new blood, new blood, and then getting those first lines at the events. So that's just one thing that I wanted to clarify on that. And then also, I just got an email from Herbalife that for January, they're going to have the double volume up to 5,000 documented volume for the April LDW. So they just threw that out there. There's more attached to the promotions, but obviously, since we're working to get to the JKO, one of the goals that you guys can have for January is 5,000 documented volume. So it counts as double volume for your April Leadership Development Weekend promotion. So I just wanted to throw that out there to you guys. And great call, everybody. Thanks for being on.
Very good. Very good. Last thing, thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't know that about the JKO as well. I was, since that was new. One quick thing, little game to play with your people. Now this might be 100% relevant. It might be 50% relevant for you, depending on how you're building your business. But the one way that I would look at building your business is if they're not on it, like all of you guys are locked into this Wednesday night call. Yes or no? Yes? You're locked in. Do you get value from it?
Yes.
If you don't get value from it, then you're dead. And you ain't dead, right? Of course you get value from it. So here's the game that I would play. There's 2 games. Number 1, you ain't going to get to where you want to get at the extravaganza with the people that you got right now. Hate to say it that way. Don't know another way to say it at the end of the call, but that's just reality. We don't need any fluff and, whatever. Okay. That's just what it is. Okay. Because it's a numbers game. So you ain't going to get to where you need to get with the people that you got right now. We got to build new. That doesn't mean forget about everybody that you've already got and be mean to them. No, nobody said that. Be nice to everybody. Make them feel great about you, Herbalife, and themselves. Always, always. But the game that I would play, and this is let me put it this way. This is your clarifier. Y'all want clarity on your business? Yes or no? Or do you want your business to be foggy? Right? Who wants to build a organization, a team in residual income? Raise your hand. Who wants 2018 to be the best that it's ever been and not just be smoke that we're blowing out of our rear ends? Everybody. So here's the qualifier. The people that you have right now that are not joining us on Wednesday night live, guess what? Treat them with respect, love them where they're at, but they are not your Get Mill and President's team members right now. You want Get Mill and President's team members underneath you. You got to get new. Because people that are missing these calls, go talk to them. You'll see where their mindset is, and you'll see that they missed the call. Because their mindset is completely different as a result of being on these every single week, isn't it? And by the way, I'm not saying these are the be-all, end-all. Using this as a hypothetical. This is a clarifier, so things are real to you, right? Things need to be real to you. You need to know where you're at, because if you know where you're at, now you know what the potential is of where you can go. If you're banking on 5 people, you know, they're going to blow up and they never even get on these calls, then you're living in a fantasy. I don't mean to say you're living in a fantasy, but as an analogy. I'm not singling out anybody. You guys got what I'm saying? And do you guys see how I put disclaimers on everything? And I go back and I restate what I'm meaning so y'all don't take it personal, okay? You guys see that technique? It's not a technique. It's just I don't want anybody to take it wrong, okay? I would use this as a clarifier. You're serious about building the business, then by golly, it's mandatory. By the way, don't say it like that, but that's the attitude. That's the attitude. Are we serious or are we serious? Oh my God. Is $10,000 a month serious? Is $7,000 a month serious? Is $5,000 a month serious? $60,000 a year? You guys know that people go to school and study and get degrees and spend money on universities and books and time and sacrifice, and then they're in debt to make $5,000 a month. So they'll do that and they'll get 70 grand in debt at a university. But when it comes to an hour and 15-minute video conference to learn how to get to 10 grand a month in 18 months to 24 months, or $5,000 a month in a year, come on. Then they don't take this seriously. I'm saying your posture needs to be, this is your effort for effort test to know who's coming your way. And like Mark Hughes said, work with the ones that are coming your way, going your way, right? Don't worry about the ones that aren't. Make them feel good. Don't make them feel bad for not being on. They ain't interested. It's a clarifier for you. That brings clarity to your business. Does that make sense? I don't get my feelings hurt when people aren't on here. Let me tell you something. Mission accomplished when all of you guys are wearing diamonds. You guys feel me? I learned from Mark Hughes. I do not spend mental energy about people that aren't going my way. I spend my energy, I invest my energy, my time with people that are going my way. This is just a little clarifier on Wednesday nights. This is not for anybody to get their feelings hurt if they work third shift or second shift and got a legitimate reason, and then they're hungry and they watch the replay. But I don't see people that are watching the replay that love it and comment and go, oh my God, that was unbelievable. So that shows me they're not engaged. Because if they watch the whole replay like a student, like I'm a student, like you're a student, then they would be commenting and they would be promoting it. Okay? You guys understand the difference? So take that little concept, okay, use it however you want to use it in your business, but it may help you as a little simple effort for effort. Hey, you want to get plugged in, it's real simple. You ain't got to get dressed up and all dolled up and go out in the cold weather and go downtown to the local hotel and be away from your dogs and your cat and your babies and your family and your husband. No, go to your office, grab a phone, grab a computer, get on, be hungry, learn, be engaged. You want to do that? I'll help you grow. We'll go to the promised land. You can't do that for me? It's really not a problem. It really isn't. You guys got it? But it'll help you know who your people are that really deserve the majority of your time. Last thing I'll say, Jim Rohn said he spent the majority of his time, okay, and energy with the 20% He spent 80% of his time with the 20% that was going his way. Because 80% ain't gonna go your way. Spend the 80% of your time and energy with the 20% that's moving your way. And then the rest of the people, you're almost just like customer service. You're there when they need them. They got an issue, no problem. I'll call you back. We'll handle it. But they don't got the red phone. That makes sense? You know what the red phone is? That's like the direct line to the White House. Okay? They get right to you. They're priority. Okay? Does that make sense? Concept. Understand the concept. I might not have said it too pretty. Understand the concept. This will help you guys when you're in building mode. All right? Let's make 2018 unbelievable. I'll have this call posted sometime tonight or tomorrow. And let's rock and roll. All right? Love you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you for y'all's
Thank you.
commitment.
You love you. Great call.
Love
Happy New
you.
Year
Thank y'all for y'all's
too.
commitment.
Monica.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.